This is Goku-san, DBZ, and welcome back to my first top 10 list in a month. I know it's been a while, but welcome back to Top 10 Sunday, and for this one I will be counting down, in my personal opinion, top 10 music albums to check out. Now this will be predominantly rock and metal, since that's predominantly what I listen to in general music-wise, but there may be an album here and there that are not rock or metal. And with that said, and of course as I said, these are my own personal picks of 10 albums and honorable mentions that I think you should check out if you've never checked out before. I recommend these. As always, of course, please remember a thumbs up this video, like, subscribe, follow me at twitter.com/GokuSunDBZ, and as well now on Tumblr. And to a couple people I've been noticing in the last few videos have been disliking, get a life, seriously, instead of disliking random videos. Anyways, here it is. Coming in at number 10 is actually a pretty new album for the most part, and it's from a well-known death metal artist, and her name is OTEP. And this is actually definitely the softest of her albums, but in general, still very good. It is weird when she does normal singing songs, because some of the more normal sounding rock or whatever songs you hear doesn't remind you of OTEP at all, vocally. It reminds you more of Pink, vocally speaking. But in general, it's a good album, and the album is called Generation Doom. As I said, it's a new album, newest album from OTEP. Coming in at number 9 is a really good metal, instrumental, experimental type. The male vocals, for the most part, in the band is more towards death metal, and the normal female vocals, which is amazing, sounds more towards opera style music, which it's incredible. The band is called Epica, and the album is called Design Your Universe. Really good album. Now this is actually considered part 2 of a 2-part special concept type thing they did between 2 separate albums. And it mentions like the New Age and things like that. It's a very interesting album for a concept album. It's definitely unique compared to many other concept albums I've heard by many different artists over the years. Coming in at number 8 is an incredible alternative rock album from actually the late 80s. Just a superb album, and if you like alternative music, I highly recommend this band. And if you like older type music that appeal to gothics and stuff, older goth type music, also a great album. Whether you have a taste in goth type music or alternative, and if you like both, hey, that's a double win right there. It's done by the great band, and as far as I'm concerned, somewhat underrated, called The Cure. And the album is called Disintegration. It's definitely an incredible album, hands down, because of songs like Love Song, which is easily probably the best well-known song on the album, but for me, I think the song Disintegration is better than Love Song. But there's many other great songs on this album, and I highly recommend, if you've never listened to The Cure, check out some of their music. In particular, check out Disintegration, which is maybe hands down their best album, and that's saying something for a band like The Cure. Coming in at number 7 is from a, I'm trying to think what subgenre they would be considered, but they're an incredible band. They have elements of goth in their earlier music as well as new age stuff, because of their 2000 album was called Mother Earth, and the best single off that album was also called that. But it had many other good songs, like it mentions like one about a never-ending story. Great songs like, was it Dark Wings, I believe was the name of the song. And of course, also their hands down, maybe in my opinion, their best, and interestingly, a concept album from 2012. And the album is called The Unforgiving, and the band's name is Within Temptation. An incredible band, period, whether you're a rock fan or whatever. Within Temptation is definitely one of those jewel type bands out there that I highly recommend anyone check out. Even if you're not traditionally a metal rock fan, you should check their music out. It's very different than most of your mainstream rock out there. Now, they're mainstream, but they're European mainstream. Not too well known here in America, though they definitely have a loyal hardcore fan base. People like myself, which love almost all their work they've ever done. Coming in at number 6 is the debut album, one of only 2 albums this band has created. And their second album came out in 2000, I think it was late 2014, if I remember correctly, or it was early 2015. But this album was released in 2006 or 2007, if I remember correctly. And the album is called Immigrate, and the name of the band, Immigrate. So yeah, it's a self-titled album. Great songs on there, like a song on there called Immigrate. New York City, My World, or In My Tears. Just some really good songs, and a song called Temptation. Just great music from this band. And if you don't know anything about the band Immigrate, the lead vocalist and secondary guitar player and stuff like in the band himself, his name is Richard. I forget how to properly pronounce his last name. He's the lead guitarist of the super well-known German industrial metal band Rammstein, or Rammstein, however you want to pronounce it, but I prefer saying Rammstein. But anywho, that's who comes in at number 6. Coming at number 5, it's an incredible album called Of Beauty and Rage. Now, this album was done by an incredible band called Red. Beauty and Rage truly is a great album. And in general, Red is an incredible band. Picture this, if you will. Some of the instrumental music in this band at times might remind you of like one of 2 bands in particular, which is Breaking Benjamin and Evanescence. Certain instrumental work in some of their music reminds me of those 2 bands on particular songs. And the vocals by the lead singer of Red reminds me actually quite a bit of the lead vocalist of Linkin Park, which is an interesting combination when you think of all these different elements combined. Now, this band had their debut album come out in 2005. This album was released, if I remember correctly, in 2008 or 2009, if I remember correctly. But incredible album by an incredible band, seriously. If you ever get the chance, you gotta check out the band Red, seriously. Coming in at number 4 is actually the best-selling rock album of the new millennium, with over 30 million plus copies sold. And in my view, definitely a great hybrid style album, combining elements of hip-hop and of hard rock. They were originally considered nu metal, but really they're a hard rock band. And incredible, you have 2 vocalists, of course, the hip-hop vocalist and the lead vocalist for the normal rock. And that is the band Linkin Park with, if you hadn't guessed already, their debut album in 2000, Hybrid Theory. To me, this is an incredible piece of work. Well done, but I expect nothing less of the band Linkin Park, because Linkin Park has done some great music. Yeah, they've had their not-so-good albums, such as their 2010 release, A Thousand Suns, which only had maybe 3 good songs on the entire album, at least in my personal view. But the songs are amazing songs. But yeah, Hybrid Theory in general, just about every single song on the album is good. One of the only songs I think sounds better in a remix in their Reanimation album from this album is probably My December and Crawling. I think the remixes are better, but those are the only remixes I think are better. Otherwise, everything else is better on this. My Hybrid Theory is truly a great crossover genre album. I mean, because you've got elements in it that hip-hop fans will appreciate, and you've got a lot of elements that hard rock fans will definitely enjoy, hands down. It's just really great work, and very good writing. That's one thing I very rarely have ever been disappointed by Linkin Park's writing work, lyrically speaking. Coming in at number 3 is actually so far the only music album I've reviewed here on my channel, and it is called Avalon, and it's by Sully. And of course, if you don't know, Sully is the, of course, lead vocalist and frontman of the super highly successful, well-known hard rock band Godsmack. But this is his first and so far only solo album, and it's an incredible piece of art. I mean, seriously, it's easily maybe my top 5 favorite albums of all time. If that says anything about how I feel about this album, Avalon, by Sully, it's just amazing. A lot of elements of new age combined with rock. Super well done. Production value is incredible. The overall lyric writing is really good, but for the most part, most of the time, you tend to expect really good work from Sully, because a lot of Godsmack's work speaks for itself for being really good. Yeah, they've done their not-so-good albums or not-so-good songs, but this album is definitely a very well-rounded album, in general, piece of music. It's incredible, especially if you like songs like Voodoo, Voodoo 2, Serenity. You're going to enjoy Sinner's Prayer on the album, and you'll definitely appreciate some of the other songs like The Departed, or songs like My Light, which is really well done in general. Coming in at number 2 is from, of course, my favorite industrial metal band, my favorite German band, Rammstein, and their third album, Mutter, released in 2001. And it's a great album. Definitely, if you've never listened to Mutter and to Rammstein, seriously, you need to check it out. If you've never listened to a Rammstein album before, some people will go with old school, saying that one of their first 2 albums in particularly will say Sehnsucht because of songs like Du hast. But I recommend Mutter more because it has a better overall variety of different sounds and styles to the album than most of Rammstein's other albums. With the exception of maybe their very last album from 2009. Was kind of variety, but a lot of the music was very similar in the Rosenrot, in Reise Reise, their debut album, and Sehnsucht had a lot of the same sounds. Mutter stands on its own, especially with songs like Mutter, or songs like Links 1, 2, 3, or Links 2, 3, 4, depending if you want to say in English or German, or great songs such as Spieluhr. And for those who don't know German, Spieluhr translates to music box. That's what it means. Or Menheitsbrand, which was actually used in the trailer for Hellboy 2: The Golden Army, interestingly enough. Menheitsbrand translates to My Heart Burns. Great song in general, just a super well designed metal album. Honorable mentions: Skillet and their album Awake, Van Halen and their album 1984, Plum and her album Catholic Resolve, Godsmack, their album 1000 Horsepower, Alter Bridge and their album AB3, which is really good, with songs like Slip Into the Void. We Are the Fallen in their album Tear the World Down, David Bowie and his most recent last album, Black Star, and the very last is the only rap album on this entire list, and that is Eminem Recovery, which is a really great album, I might add. And coming in at number 1 of at least this list, though expect at least one more of these lists in the future. But number 1 album I think you should check out if you're a metal fan, hard rock fan, rock fan, or whatever, and you really enjoy well-rounded stuff, and if you enjoy older style music, I recommend at number 1 Iron Maiden and their newest album, The Book of Souls, from 2015, last year. It's an incredible 2 CD album, incredible music, about 93 minutes, if I remember correctly, of total music. And the music's incredible. The first song on the album, it's like about 9 minutes, just great. Their second song, which is about between 5 and 6 minutes, which is, of course, got its own music video here on YouTube, which is, of course, Speed of Light. Just great song. Book of Souls song is really good, but I think the crowning jewel in this entire album is called Empire of the Clouds. And it's about the tragedy of course, that happened in early England, early 20th century. With, of course, their dirigible, or blimp, if you will, that was getting ready to go on its first launch, but it would end up crashing and burning, sadly, and killing a lot of innocent people. But the song is really good, and it really helps describe the entire events that would happen in this time period in England. And like every other album in general, Bruce Dickinson sounds just as good as ever. It's hard to believe. This year, Iron Maiden hits 40th anniversary as a band, and the 35th anniversary of Bruce Dickinson as the frontman of the band. So that's insane to think about. 35 years, 3.5 decades, he's been playing with Iron Maiden, which is maybe the single greatest metal band of all time. I know there's a lot of people out there who are going to argue with Black Sabbath and other bands. They are great, but in my view, Iron Maiden is at an echelon of its own. Right below it, Black Sabbath, Megadeth, and them. Well, most of the big four, but not going to give any credit to Slayer because of some of the comments and stuff from that band. But anyways, hope you enjoyed this video, top 10 list, and tell me what are some of your favorite albums, what albums got you into particular genres of music. And I'll see you all here again soon enough in YouTube land for a comic book review, which I know I originally promised Thursday. I'm going to try to make sure it gets done today. I've had some hecticness with my work and stuff at where I work, and now that I'm in management, I have a little less free time, so I try to do what I can on my YouTube channel. But I'll see y'all next time here in YouTube land. Same YouTube time, same YouTube channel. See you soon enough for comic book review, and also another fighting game video game review that I'm working on. Anyways, peace out.